moments of triumph and moments of failure. Entrepreneur isn't necessarily like a job title, it's a mentality.
I work for myself 100%. And we're back with another episode. Why did we both just like... We were
You did it.
Finger guns.
And I liked it. So I copied it. I was like, finger guns.
We're back with another episode. Put your hands up.
Freeze.
That kind of like ties us into the topic today.
Oh, so, yes.
Today we are talking about a subject that's a little, I'd say it's a little touchy just because it's like, it kind of is like us self-diagnosing a little bit.
I see what you're saying.
And I don't want to discredit, again, like actual mental illness, but today we want to talk about ADHD and what it's like owning and operating a business whilst having ADHD or ADHD similarities, parallels.
Is that what we're talking about today?
I
wrote down organization and mental organization.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like, I think for me, it's like mine's definitely ADHD. But just like generalizing.
Okay. I see you. I like this.
My lack of ability to be mentally organized.
Well, what I feel from this is like, yeah, we need to dive deeper on this because clearly we both have different ideas of like how we organize our mental space and actually how we organize our tasks and then how we don't. Like what gets in the way, because I think a lot of times you go to organize something, you're like, oh, ADHD kicked in, can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like it. Let's vibe on this.
Okay, so I would just like to say this is probably like the number one thing I struggle with in owning a business. It's not even just staying organized, it's getting organized, like physically, like my items, my belongings, the things I need for my business, but also my mental organization. I think a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, they think like, I can do this, but I can also do this and this and this and this. And then when you start to have multiple projects, unless you're really good at it and you're like a type A personality where you're very organized and tidy, and I think that's something I struggle with, is just doing one task and finishing one task, or organizing something and finishing it, seeing it through.
Yeah.
And therefore it affects every single aspect of my life. And my nest of the day that I will share at the end is actually the epitome of this.
Okay. So basically, if I'm understanding you correctly, it's like you go into your day very clear-minded. And then somewhere throughout the day, things get added and things get taken away and things get started and other things didn't get finished. And so at the end of it, literally the day didn't go because I know you're an organized person in the planning part of it. Mm-hmm. So at some point, your organization just goes whoosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is how I would say, I always tell people this.
Walk us through like a day. Walk us through a day of just like work.
So I tell everybody this. I say that I don't know how my day is going to go. Sometimes when I'm really organized, and it usually lasts like a couple days when I get to this point, but when I'm really organized, I plan out my day the night before. Believe it or not. It actually helps me a lot. I'll write to-do list on my whiteboard, and I'm like, when I wake up, I have a direct list plan of attack for my day, for my business, and then I need to get these like 5 things done.
Do you go as far as, because when I do that, I have a timeline. So I'm like, okay, by 7:30, I'm in the shower. By 9:30, I'm doing this. So it's not like that. It's just a list.
No routine, just a list. I don't.
It's not a timeline.
Me and the word routine don't.
Well, it's not a routine, but like, because for me, if I've got a busy day, and maybe it's because I learned this in culinary school, it's like a list, but I do a time with it.
Yeah, and you know those like planners that are like, 7 a.m.
I love it.
Okay, cool. I feel like that's way more type A. I can't. I look at that, and if I miss one, I feel like I already failed. And when I have that sense of failure, I'm behind and I'm catching up. Yeah. I can't do it. And later when we talk about the tips, I'll dive further into like how I handle like my list. But this is what a day in my life looks like. I wake up, different time every day. Who knows? What time did I go to bed? Don't know. What time I'm waking up? Don't know. If I have things planned that day, I already feel just like, I feel gross. I'm like, ew, I have to go somewhere or do something or meet with someone, or I don't like those days. But typically I don't. I work from home and I get to choose like which project I work on. I'm also like the least, probably in like the top, like, or I guess bottom percent of people who own businesses that are organized. Like I'm not horrible. Like I'm a very functioning, disorganized person.
Yeah.
But it's chaotic. It's chaos everywhere. I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, I wake up. I usually shower and I brush my teeth, have coffee, have breakfast. And then I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make my to-do list. I'm going to figure out the 5 things that like have to get done today. And it just, every day is different. You never know what you're going to get. And I'll write down, like today I have my whiteboard. I wrote down the 5 things, right? And I start to try to do the first thing. And then suddenly I'm doing something else. Like,
oh, I've seen it for my own eyes.
I brought Gina over 2 bags of like clothes that I don't wear anymore. That wasn't on my list. I literally purged my closet. Why? Because I have this thought, this feeling that's like, you should do this. And I do it. Like I have no like self-control when it comes to like the things I need to be doing versus the things that all of a sudden sound really fun. So anyway.
Well, I mean, and that is, I mean, just even when I was over at your house yesterday, it was like, we'd be talking, you'd be like, oh, I got to do this thing. And I'd be like, and then you'd like walk out of the office and I'd be like, hello?
Where'd you go?
Like, hello?
That's me.
And I'm like sitting there like paused because like I am very like list oriented, but in order. I'm like numerical order with my things. I'm not like sporadic. Like, because for me, I could never, what you're talking about is like, oh, like the night before. I do mine a week at a time. I have that week planner where it says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it has the times. And I literally fill things in like a weekly planner. And that's like my lifeline, because every morning I wake up and I look at that, I was like, oh, I've got something to do in an hour. Like literally, that's how and I have to do it on a Monday. I have to do it, or like a Sunday, Monday. I have to do it for my week. And then if I don't, I just am like, can't function. I literally can't function. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And it has to be handwritten.
Well, I see. And the thing is like, I'm going to accredit that to the fact that you do a lot more things that involve other people. And when you run either a service-based industry or business, or like you just help other people or you're involved with other people, you have to be way more organized because you have deadlines, deadlines for other people. Versus me, where my projects, I don't rely on anybody else. Very rarely does like someone else depend on me or whatever. That's why I said like when I have those times, I hate them. But most of the time it's like I get to just wake up and be like, what do I feel like working on? Do I want to film a YouTube video? Do I want to go take some photos of my products? Do I want to make a TikTok? Do I want to plan my like And so there's a lot more freedom for me to choose what I want to work on, which gets really dangerous because then it's like I said, I will have this feeling, this super random desire to do something, and then I start doing it, and then 3 hours goes by.
Well, yeah, I mean, even just listening to you, how do you prioritize? Because for me, it's very clear. Restaurant comes first, making money, my side jobs come second, my personal hobbies or my personal side hustles come like third, my health comes probably fourth, and then my happiness comes fifth. So things can really easily be categorized for me. It's like, do I have to submit plans today? Obviously trumps everything. Like, do I have to do something for the restaurant? Trumps everything. Then it's like, okay, do I have a shift at the bar?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, now I want to film a podcast. Now I want to go over to your house and do this. And then after that, it's like, okay, I got to clean the house, or I have to like figure out my diet plan or whatever. And then after all of that stuff is done, then it's like, should I organize my closet?
Yeah. Well, that's good. At least like you still get that feeling. It just comes later. I think what I need to work on is fighting those feelings and those urges and being like, okay, I can't, for example, purging my closet. I can't do that until I've done the 3 things I need to do, or, put it in the middle of my day.
Yeah.
If it sounds fun.
Or the beginning.
Okay. So I was
beginning.
I was watching a TikTok of this girl explaining how she functions with ADHD, and she talks about the dopamine wave. And so she'll do something that gives her a dopamine release, and she'll do it first before her task so that she can ride the wave when she does her other tasks.
What's an example of a dopamine releasing thing?
Well, she said her example was watching an episode of her favorite TV show, and like, I don't get like that. There's no TV that does that for me, and I would not.
I don't know, you gotta watch this shit.
I like watching TV. I like multitasking. Like, I would watch TV and fold laundry or something, but it doesn't give me dopamine. But like, for example, if it wasn't really that important because there was no deadline, and I have so much other important things to do, but going through my closet and finding an outfit for an event to wear or something, it's like I was so excited to do it, and then going through having that process, getting the dopamine, being excited about something, now I get to ride that wave and be like, okay, well, I did that. Now I get to go into work and do the stuff I don't want to do. And when that kind of like fizzles out midday, hopefully, like pick something else that gives you that dopamine release. Like some people, it's like going to the gym. They like,
I know. I wish that was me.
Yeah, definitely not me, but
I wish I could just be like, man, I just need to sweat it out right now.
Right? I think for me,
I'm like, I need a cookie.
No, I was gonna say that. I'm like the exact opposite. I'm like, we have Girl Scout cookies here, and I'm like, just eating a couple of those, I was like, yeah, like I feel happy.
That's my sister too. She was literally like feeling so depressed, and I was like, you just need like some Indian food. And she was just like, wow, I feel great.
But yeah, so I guess like for me, prioritizing, like you said, it's like I do have deadlines. This morning, for example, I knew I had to package orders. I've been kind of like slacking on orders because I've been doing other things. And like, you know how you said like, oh, are any papers? So I have to take any papers, file papers for the city or whatever. Is there a deadline? My equivalent to that is like getting an email from someone. People are so impatient. But after a couple days, they'll be like, hey, where's my order? Can you give me an update on my order? And I'm like, yes. Like, it's the equivalent. It's like, it hasn't been that long, but I agree. Like, I should be prioritizing it. And so like, then in my head, I'm like, okay, that's priority because it's been 4 days. It should be shipped out already. Or, the podcast, editing a podcast episode. It's like, there's a deadline for that.
Yeah.
Or if we're filming a podcast, I do it like this too. Like if I'm driving all the way to Roseville or, I don't know if I like that. If I'm driving all the way to Gina's house,
which is not in Roseville.
I said
Hoseville.
Toesville. If I'm coming all the way over here, what else on my to-do list has to be in this area, or while I'm out and about? Like, is there anything else I have to do, or I have to put makeup on and get ready to film?
Yeah.
So is there anything else that also requires me to have makeup on, like doing a YouTube video or whatever, content creating in general? And so it's like, for me, I prioritize it like that, like just so like I don't have to put makeup on every day of the week. Just I already have it on. What can I bang out? And usually that makes it a lot easier for me.
But we were talking about this yesterday, and I think it has a big thing to do with mental organization, or I guess just getting the most out of your day. If you were to wake up in the morning, not necessarily know what your day was, but put pants on, get your makeup on, get ready, like, because you and I don't work 9 to 5s, but get ready like it's a 9 to 5, then do you think that would put you in a position to have more options in your day?
100%. I feel like that's also something like from day one of owning my own business, I have never like done that. I've never treated my own business like a 9 to 5. I've never woken up, clocked in mentally, taken a lunch break, then went back to work. I've never done that, and it's hard.
I've been giving you the same advice to try it for like 5 years.
Yeah. No, I can't. I got PJs. My hair's a mess. I look like a mess. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't know, but I know what you're saying. I agree. The days that I do put makeup on and I do get ready, I feel so much better. The days I wake up early, I feel so much better.
Yeah. I mean, And I think most people do, because the days that, this morning I woke up at like 6 a.m. in like a panic, but yeah, but like even just getting up, going, because I was at the store by like 7. It's like getting up, being at the store by 7 and like moving around, like my brain, although now is so mushy because that was hours ago, was like, okay, I've got time to organize and to get myself there and give myself an extra minute to like fold the blankets and like wash my sheets, just extra things, you know? And I think that with the way that I plan my schedule, even today, if I wouldn't have waken up an hour earlier, I would have screwed, because I had a meeting I had a phone call at 7:30. I had another meeting at 9. I had to drop paperwork off in the office at 10. Then I had to go shopping and drop stuff off the kitchen by 2. Then I had to be here to get ready for the podcast by 3. And after this, I have to go to my consulting job by 6. It's organized for me. Yeah. All I have to do is not fuck it up. So it's so different.
Yeah.
Like it's.
And to a certain degree, I'm almost envious, because like you are forced to have a bit of structure or a bit of routine. Yeah. I think 2 things. One, with ADHD and my mindset of like, I get like pulled in every direction. I get like creative spurts. And if I don't act on the creative spur, it's like that doesn't exist all the time. I'm not always creative. I'm not always switched on. So when I feel that way, I want to be that way. Yeah. But what I was gonna say is like having a routine, even though it's hard for me, like I do think I would benefit from forcing myself to get into the habit of doing things, because alongside of ADHD, it's like I want to do all these things, like purging my closet randomly. That took 30 minutes. Maybe I didn't need to do it, or didn't have a lot of time. But like if I woke up earlier, then it's like I have more time to do those things. And I think it's super healthy. Like allow yourself time to do those things by giving yourself a routine or more of a schedule.
Well, what I've noticed and I'm actually way less busy now than I usually am, because normally I'm working 16 hours in the kitchen on top of opening a knife company, trying to do all this crazy stuff. So I've been really used to having crazy schedules. But what I've noticed is you almost always find a way to make time for the stuff you really want to do. And you don't always make time for the stuff that you don't want to do. So if there are things like that you want to do, but they're not like dropping off paperwork or shopping. So if you put yourself in a situation where you have to do those, you make time for the fun stuff. You make time.
I just thought of something. Actually, what I do, I don't know if anyone else is like this. I don't know if you're like this, but like I love a challenge. Like that challenge energy makes me want to do something. So for example, like I'll talk about this later, but I have like multiple to-do lists, but like I have an easy, medium, hard to-do list.
Oh yeah.
I like challenging myself to say something like, okay, pick 10 things off the easy list, 2 things off the medium, 1 thing off the hard.
Yeah.
And then like that's like it's kind of based off momentum. Once I get momentum, I feel like I can do anything. But then I'm like, okay, I got this. I can do it. Like the hard thing is going to be easy. I'm going to tackle it. And then because I'm like challenging myself to see if I can do it, I want to do it. And like I think normally when you're looking at, like, for example, if the hard thing was like my bookkeeping or taxes, it's like I don't want to do that. But now that I have like a time limit or like just this like, I don't know, just like a race against the clock. I know a lot of people with ADHD like function that way too. It's like give yourself a time limit to finish something to see if you can finish it, and it makes you want to. Yeah.
You're also way more comfortable, and I think you gain a lot of time by this, which is I don't want to shoot myself in the foot because this is not how I am. But you gain a lot of time by being okay with not being on time.
Oh, yep.
Because I have a complex, and I've talked about this on the show before, where I cannot be late to anything. Like if I say I'm going to show up on a time, like I'm texting you like 45 minutes early saying I'm being 2 minutes late. Like I have a complex. I'm almost always on time, or 5 minutes early, or an hour early, like anything but not late. And so what ends up happening is I don't always have enough time to start another project. So I'm just like, I've got 30 minutes to get to work, but really work's only 5 minutes away. So I just go to work because I'm so, I do this all the time because I don't want to be late and I don't want to just sit here, but I don't want to start another project because that project takes 30 minutes and I can't be 5 minutes late. I refuse to be 5 minutes late. So I'll go to work 30 minutes early instead of banging out one more project and being 5 minutes late.
Or for example, like if you have to be at your work at 6 and you get there at 5:30, you're still going to get there at 5:30 and you're going to work till 6. Like at least you're still working. And honestly, you say it like it's a bad thing. That's a skill set. That is like what I have is called it's literally a handicap. When I first discovered what ADHD was, that was like the first thing that I read. It was like inability to ever arrive on time to anything, because even if you make time to go early, you fill that time with something, and it's
the
something.
Second that you are like, okay, I've got 5 minutes, let me paint my room.
No, okay, literally on the way over here I was like, okay, I told her I would be there, I'm coming, and I'm racing and getting all my stuff in the car, I'm coming, and then my oil light came on. It was like low, like minimum oil. I changed my oil. My car just burns a lot of oil, so like it got to the point where it's just like I have an oil leak too. Another topic. But I was literally like, well, I don't want to drive with low oil. I know I have oil in the back garage. And I sat there and I was like, see, even when I try to be early, like there's always something. I could have just drove, right? But then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I could just fix it really fast. And that's my everyday thing.
No, and I will burn my car to the fucking ground.
Yeah, 'cause you don't wanna be
you should
late.
see my, oh shit. You should see my gas tank when I got to your house. Like I was at like almost negative E, and it's not like I had to be at your house at a specific time. I could have stopped on my way there to get gas. Like, nope, I'm going to get there first. And then like, oh, it was just,
That's hilarious.
yeah, that's just how I am. It was ridiculous.
What's funny is like, I know you have known you forever, and like, I'm not even aware of this. Like, we're so different in that way. Like, you would rather drive your car on E for so long just to arrive somewhere on time. And then for me, I'm like, I'm going to stop at the gas station. And while I'm there, I'm going to get a snack, a drink, probably drink the whole thing there, fill my tank up, wash my windows, call you, even though I've already checked out, call you, be like, do you want anything from the gas station? And you're like, no. And I'm like, cool. And then I'm going to come over. Like,
do you think it doesn't make that big of a difference?
no.
And you know what? Every time you come over, we sit here and fucking shoot the shit for 45 minutes anyway. So it's not like, but at whatever reason, I can't.
The only time I get that feeling of being like, I have to be there on time is like a job interview or something, like where it's like first impression really matters. Other than that, I'm like, I try. I'm 27. I've accepted it at this point. I'm not going to be punctual. That's one of my flaws, top 5.
Yeah.
And I own it at this point. I'm sorry if it affects anybody and you think less of me. Like, I can't change. I've tried. I'm not going to change.
Well, I just want anyone to know that if they ever work with me or work around me, I'm always on time.
She's great.
With
Hire
coffees.
her. I'm busy. I got things to do.
But you know what? It makes me feel good because there are so many things that you are great at that I suck at, like sending texts, spelling.
Oh, I'm good at spelling.
Eye for detail, grammar.
Ooh.
You're good at all that stuff, and you're really good at being organized on paper.
So you know what's weird is like you are.
Fun.
You're very punctual.
Zany.
You're very punctual. You're like, I don't want anyone to think less of me, blah, blah, blah. Like, I need to be on time, whatever. I'm like, fuck it, who cares? But like, when it comes to like, that's in person.
Oh,
but
yeah.
on paper, we're like complete opposites.
The
on
opposite.
paper, I'm like, if I'm sending an email, if she made a thumbtack so she could get side gigs, and like,
I'm like not spelling out you.
yeah, she's put like abbreviations from like texting in high school.
I hit emails with the LOL at the
Yeah,
end.
it's like haha, and then the sideways smiley face. Like, literally, I'm like copywriting her stuff, like spell checking everything, and I'm like, I had to rewrite her something that she was doing, and
The
I'm like,
speech?
the speech. I had to rewrite the whole thing because I'm like, looking at it, I wanted to like.
And she took an hour to do it. So, which is another thing. It's like, so I thought about that video and I was like, so happy you're helping me because it really turned out great. I did a video for a charity that I work a lot with. And basically I was like, okay, we're going to do this real quick. Like, let's just get it done. Like I gave an hour on my schedule. I got 1 hour to do this. And then Maddie gets involved, reads my speech, spends 2 hours editing the speech.
I did.
which I just didn't have it in me. So by the time we actually went to like record it, like all pep in my step was just like, I can't. But the speech was awesome. It was well written if you want to see it. But that's just how we're opposite.
But see, she and her little schedule was like, okay, from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. we're gonna make the video. She's like, it'll take 5 seconds, don't worry about it. And I'm over here like, first of all, it doesn't take 5 seconds. It's gonna take a while. We have to film it. You have to like it. Are you winging this? What are we doing? She's like, well, I kind of wrote something, and I'm looking at the things she kind of wrote, and I'm looking at it like, that's horrible. Like, you're using like language that's so basic and it doesn't evoke emotion. And this speech, it's like we want it to be emotional and touching and heartfelt. And it's like she's over here using words like, they thought I was sad and stupid. And I'm like, I can't handle this. Like, and so,
which I just want to put it in context. I have done now 8 keynote speakings at these charity events and raised tons of money. I was just the MC for this last event. I wrote all my own stuff and I did it, and people thought I was amazing. So it's not that I'm not good. I'm much better at improvising. It's just that like she's got a different eye for it than me specifically. Because if you were to read it, I feel like what you read sounds so much better.
To be fair, though, I think if we didn't, like, if I had never seen that, I wish I had never even looked at it, to be honest. The script.
And we
that you
improv'd?
wrote, I wish we would have just improv'd it and I would have seen, like, where you took it. But at the same time, the person wanted an 8-minute speech, and what she had wrote was, like, literally, like, barely 2 minutes. And so in my head, I'm like, there's no way you're going to be able to, like, give a whole 8-minute speech improv. Like, it's going to have to be structured and everything. And the second we made it structured, it felt very scripted. And so I think improving, you're right, would have been like way more your style and better, but it worked out. It looked good. We had a moment where I had to use like this, like, what do they call it?
That was clutch, though. Yeah. I mean, you know what? I've never done anything like the way you did it, and so it was cool to try it that way. And the people like the video. We still have to edit it back a little bit. Huh?
It's on my list.
See, okay, this is where my organization's horrible. That's not on my list anywhere.
She's waiting for an email. It's like, hey, did you ever get the email? Did you ever get the video updated? And it's like, oh yeah, now it's on my list.
No, that there is so many things when we're at this level of like, okay, we've got all these little moving pieces, like there are a lot of cracks. So things can fall through. And so maybe we should talk about like what are some tips that we should try more or that we do currently use to help prevent things falling from the cracks. You know, help prevent missing things, help prevent getting sidetracked.
Well, okay. So one thing I think that I noticed that you do is like she's yes woman, like something comes her way and she's like, yes, I'm about it. Let's do it. And I fucking seriously love that energy. It's the best. I'm not like that. I'm like, I don't know. I know that's going to take time. I know I'm going to be a perfectionist about it. And then it's going to like drive me crazy. You're the opposite. You're like, yep, I'll figure it out. If there's a will, there's a way. Like, and that's great. But you don't always like mentally in the moment, you're not seeing how much time and energy that's going to take. So you don't actually figure out if you have time for that. It might seem like you do, but you might not really.
Yeah, and I'm not even confident enough to cancel things last minute. Like the other day, you canceled that shoot. You're like, hey, we'll do it another day. And I was like,
how dare you?
No, I was like, I wish I could do that. I was like, I have not canceled anything except for the last thing I canceled was that Friendsgivmas thing we were supposed to do. And dude, I was crying.
Really?
I was in tears. I was like, I just can't do it.
All like,
so much going on. I sent this like savvy ass message because I was just like,
and we were all literally like, it's fine.
Everyone was probably happy.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, this is the thing is like, maybe you haven't hit this yet, but I hit this point where, like I said, my mental health was so greatly affected from like me being that type of person and prioritizing everyone else or trying to make everyone happy and trying to like overextend myself. That it affected my mental health. And now that I'm at a point where I'm like finally happy again, I'm not gonna do it. And that day where I canceled the shoot, I sat there and I go, I put too much on my plate. I'm aware of that. I'm looking at it. I can't handle it. I feel stressed out. What's something I can take off of my list that's gonna allow me to have a good day and finish the things I need to instead of having a mental breakdown? And canceling the shoot was the best decision because it took like 3 things off of my to-do list.
Oh,
So that
so
also-
jealous.
We like have different skill sets. Like
Yeah, I'm so jealous. I can't do that. And I want to because I will just sit here and fucking burn. I would just fucking lose it.
But there's pros and cons to it. Like if we had done that shoot, I would have had content. I would have like been ahead in other aspects. And now I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm behind in aspects. And it's like, so it did affect me.
I do. I mean, I do have a lot of really cool random things. Like I've got that like apron thing that is about to come out. Like random shit happens because I always show up to meetings. But then more things get on your plate because also like you do the shoot, then now you have to post. Well, I don't know. Now you got to post pictures.
Okay. Back to what you said. What are tips to handle everything? Being a yes woman or wanting to have a lot of things, or being like for me, for example, like my ADHD runs rampant and I'm like, okay, I want to do YouTube. It's not just as easy as like propping up a camera like a podcast and filming.
Yeah.
It's like I have to think about what I'm filming, what do I need for it, what do I have to order, what parts do I need someone else involved, do I need a script, what are the shots, I need a shot list, I need to edit it, I need to have time to edit it, I need time, like there's so much. And then just making the YouTube video, it's not even just that, it's like how do I advertise the video? I have to make a shorter version for YouTube, for Instagram, for TikTok, a YouTube short. Like in my head there's so much more that goes into it, so I'm not just mentally like, yes, I'm gonna make a YouTube video today. In my head I'm like, I'm gonna sacrifice a whole day for this video.
And okay. So here's how we're also different because you are going to sacrifice a whole day. You're going to stress out. You're going to over perfect. You're going to do probably too much, stress out about it, all these things. But the video that ends up coming out is going to be fucking cool. Like nothing you've ever put out, is it? I, on the other hand, am like, no one's really going to give fucking care. Let me just fucking, it's out. And I don't think you have the ability to do that.
I don't. And if I did, and that's the thing is like I seen like other YouTubers who don't put in as much effort. They don't care about the way they edit it. They don't care about people's attention span. They literally will just put like a whole 30-40 minute clip and call it a video. And that's great. It works for them. Mm-hmm. I look at that and I'm like, I wish I could do that, but I can't. I just can't. Like my perfectionism comes through, and I like, it prevents me from wanting to make content because I feel like now I know it's going to take so much time and I don't really have time, and that's not really making me money, and it takes away from the things that are making me money.
But if you did, I mean, like for instance, yesterday, remember that like thing I was going to post that was like, oh, this week, like I've got this on our calendar. I honestly only spent like 30 minutes on it, and you looked at it and I looked at it and we're both like, oh, that's not very good. And then this morning I was like, well, I have 4 days till event. I got to post it. I just posted it. And I don't think you'd be able to do that. But like, that's off my list. It's off my mind. I'm like, who cares? You know, I'll have the rest of my life to post a better one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it helps check off the list, especially with you and your situation with YouTube where you're like, it's been a while. You just need to get something out. Isn't there any way you could just fucking break the ice and throw something on there? Don't you have enough fucking stuff to piece together anyway?
Yes. But this is where, and I'll walk you through my thought process with YouTube.
Okay. All right.
So you're like, okay, also, I just got an email from YouTube that was like, hey, we're going to demonetize your channel if you don't post. You've been inactive, whatever. And I'm like, oh, shoot. That's now making the YouTube videos like on my priority list because there's something pending that I have a deadline.
You're like, I'm about to be screwed.
I have 30 days to make a video and to start posting on YouTube, even though it's been like almost 2 years. I know it's been so long.
It doesn't feel like that long.
I know, but it has been.
Jesus.
And so it's not like I'm not doing things. I could easily film the stuff I'm doing to my cars and make content. I just like don't ever want to.
Okay.
But anyway, so my thought process is it's been 2 years. I need an intro video for my YouTube video. And I look way different than when I did the intro video last. So I'd have to make a whole new intro video. And if I do something subpar, people are going to be like, I miss your old content. This isn't really good. That's where my brain goes. And I know that's like so irrational because most people are like, I just want to see you. I want to see your car. I want to see what you're up to. Like,
yeah. I mean, and also you've gained new fans over the years. Like your fan base is changing. Like I think the most perfect example is everybody like our generation, we talk about Zac Efron has grown with us.
what is it?
Zac Efron.
Oh, Zac Efron.
Zac Efron has like grown with us. You know what I mean? You're the same for other people. Like you're growing at the like parallel to other people growing. So most of your fans, they also have been changing for 2 years. So to see you changing is really probably normal and feels more natural, like you're part of their lives. So I think it's a good thing. And I also think like just even letting somebody know, like as simple as like things are coming, it's not done yet, hold on your horses, this is a teaser, let's go. Like people will appreciate that and see, because you've talked very openly about your mental health, very openly about how it's hard to like get things posted. So I think most people see that and resonate and be like, dang, she's working on something good. You know what I mean? Because I think the first thing that you post out is be like, oh my gosh, okay, like what's more to come? That's gonna add pressure. Just get something out there and people will know like, okay, she's got something cooking.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to avoid that pressure of like, I think that's like been the biggest thing is like my life 2 years ago or like pre-COVID was like a lot more exciting. My content was more exciting, and now I'm met with the like, I'm older.
We are so fucking exciting. You shut your whore ass mouth. I can't even.
Okay, then
Bro, I've already been to like 10 states this year.
You're right. You're right.
All right, we're about to fucking, oh my, we were in Mexico. I mean, I was just on a Netflix show. We're fucking got a podcast. Shit's going.
I think that's just what I have to like realize is like my life is different. It's not boring. It's different. It's like I bought a house and I never posted about it. I never did a house tour video.
Yeah.
I never showed my garage. And like these are things that like that's like what every car person dreams of is like having their own place to put their car, like a really cool garage. And it's like I never even got to post that content because that's when I took my break. And so I definitely just have to get over it and figure it out. But I think for me, half of my mental organization is I have to just ignore the fact that like tasks are difficult or they're going to be difficult and allow myself a whole day to, maybe not a whole day, spend like a part of a day planning and scripting and getting ready. And then the next day, wake up early, get ready early and start filming. And just like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, no pressure. We can try again another day. Like, I think for me, YouTube and stuff like that I don't make enough money off of it to be like, okay, I have to go ham. It has to be perfect. I just want to be super casual. And I think that's my approach to a lot of things now. It's like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to try my best and I'm going to try to get that momentum, clean my house, get a nice balance of like cleanliness, exercise, sunlight, socializing, work, and then just be happy and then like have my fun too.
Yeah, it sounds so easy.
Oh yeah, but
we'll have to edit this part out. Gigantors.
You're gonna say that you're gonna edit this out, but then it's gonna be in the pod.
I'm gonna edit it out.
Hello.
None of that registered. These mics are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like that's what I want for you. So I'm hoping that happens. And honestly, it starts with just like I was literally thinking like, God, I just need to start running and start doing some things. It just always feels like a lot of pressure. Even simple as like I've got papers floating around for everything. Like even because like I can get organized, I can make everything really pretty, and I can put them all in the right folders. But it's like keeping up with it every single day is so hard.
Yeah,
it's so hard.
It really doesn't end. Like, but I think for me the biggest thing is like, so one of my tips for staying organized, I keep saying this, but for me it's momentum, which means giving myself a nice list of semi-easy tasks, something medium, something hard, and then also something fun that's like a task. Because for me, I'm like, if I go straight in being like, oh, I have to do my taxes today, I'm gonna have a bad day. I'm just not gonna have a good day. I don't want to bookkeep all day. Like, no one wants to do that. I don't want to go through all my paperwork, look for paperwork, find information about something I filed 2 years. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I don't task myself with something heavy like that and say it has to get done in one day. I'm like, I just want to work away at it for a couple days. But before I work on that, I want to work on something more fun.
Oh, yeah.
And
add one thing that's fun to your day.
Yeah. Or like, I'm trying to think of something that's fun.
See, and where like, if you're somebody more like me, the fun part, usually is looped into the day because it's like some meetings are fun or whatever. But like when my list is done at like, even if it's done at 9, 10, or sometimes it's done at like 4 or 5, my list is done. I'm like, I'm done for the day. Like lately, it's like brain off. I want to eat a fun meal. So I think a big part of that is like using a little extra time to set myself up to do even better the next day. Like I think that that's something that's really important, because if you're kind of like me and you're like type A and you're just go all day, your list ends and you just are relying on the you that was 3 days ago that wrote your schedule for tomorrow. But I know I would be so much less anxious and so much less stressed out if I could look at my list for tomorrow and be like, can I take something off my plate for tomorrow now that I have time? And it's so hard. I never want to do it. And if you're like me, you never want to do it. You're like, nope, I made this list. I'm going by it, badge of honor. But it's like, look ahead and get ahead, because that's what I'm horrible at. You know, like if I had an extra hour or so, I could have been like, oh, can I finish editing the podcast or whatever? But instead I was like, nope, that was my list for today.
Yeah. Oh,
that's tough.
I'm just trying to think. Like, I think my biggest issue is I'm lazy early on. And so by like 2 or 3, I'm met with that like shame about having not done enough. And then I work really hard until like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. And like, then by the time I'm done, I feel good, but I'm like, I'm tired. I'm like, I want to go watch TV in bed. But even then, it's like, I know it's almost like my to-do list just literally just never ends. Every day I add like 3 things and I can't catch up. That's what it feels like.
I completely agree. I was just telling somebody, it might have been Donald, I don't know, where I cannot remember the last time, or I can't even remember what it feels like to be bored and have nothing to do.
Oh, yeah. No, I say that all the time.
Because like I've been like tired and lazy where I don't want to do anything, but I have not faced the feeling of like, oh, I have nothing to do, or I don't know what to do, or I'm bored, or like, oh, I have not felt that in years and years and years and years, and I don't remember what that feels like.
If you guys are watching the YouTube video, comment down below if you are like that, because I'm really curious. I'm curious if there's more people who like really can't feel that feeling of boredom, or if you're more like, oh no, like I'm pretty good at what I need to do. I don't task myself with too much, and then I can get bored. You know, even if I like had a list of things, I did all of it, I internally will never, I don't know what it feels like to relax. I think that's what it is. Like I don't relax. I'm like, okay, what else can I do? And then I gang up on myself and I'm like, well, you should be doing more. Like you said, like you should be doing more when you're not doing enough. And then I start like feeling bad. And even when I want to lay down, I'm like, oh, I'll bring my laptop into bed and just, you know, do this. But yeah, my partner, he's very much like, he has a job, a 9 to 5. He works remote. He clocks in, does his job, clocks out, and then he's like, cool, what am I gonna do? Maybe I'll go to the gym.
Insane.
I'm gonna play video games. I'm gonna relax. And I look at him, and it's like, not to lie, a little bit. There's this tiny bit of resentment that I'm like, how do you feel like that? Like, how do you not have something else you want to work on?
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the same mindset. He doesn't think like me. He doesn't want to work on 6 projects at once. He doesn't want to have a creative outlet like me. He doesn't want to like start a podcast or a YouTube channel. He's just like, I want to do my job, get paid for it, and then play video games. I don't want to turn my video games into I don't want to stream. I don't want to turn it into a side job. I'm jealous.
I get really jealous, but then I remember like I can't clock in at 9, clock off at 5, and then be fulfilled. And you can't either. So it's like, that's what you get with that. So it's really awesome. But what we get with ours is like such cool history of what we've done in our life. I mean, I feel really proud of all the things that we've done. So regardless of if I'm organized, disorganized, overwhelmed, excited, stressed out, you know, there's no way I don't look back and go like, well, I did a lot of cool shit though.
No, I agree. I think, there's definitely a price to pay when you're like us, but it's very rewarding. And I think I've never really worked for anybody else in that sense. I've never had a corporate job, never worked a 9 to 5, so I don't know. But to me, I'd imagine like working for somebody else for their job, for their goals. It's like that to me doesn't seem fulfilling. Or I mean, maybe not fulfilling is not the right word, but it doesn't feel rewarding. So I guess the payoff there is like you get to relax and you get to enjoy your life outside of that. And that's not to say like other people, like I think it's pretty normal for people to work a 9 to 5, then come home and be like, oh yeah, I want to work on my side hustle or my hobbies, or like he likes to build Legos and stuff. And it's like, that's cool. Like, I mean,
I think it's cool. I just, but you're right. I mean, I worked for somebody else in the restaurant industry. I've been helping build other people's restaurants and build up their teams and make their dreams a reality. And a lot of times I think, wow, right now, especially since there's a shortage on like chefs, I could be making easily 3 digits, go in, do something for somebody else, make my money, and have lots of time for me. But I chose to be broke, struggling, stressed out, overwhelmed, but excited, fulfilled, completely fulfilled.
so worth it.
Fulfilled of stress.
Just all these. Yep. No, I'm happy. I'm very happy. Proud.
Yikes.
No, it's definitely not. And that's the thing too, is like before my sister got her most recent job, I would tell her, I'm like, you could start your own business. Like you could do this too. Like I could help you. And then I look at it and I'm like, no, I need to stop telling people that. It's not a lifestyle. It's glamorized. It's romanticized. It's not easy. It's emotionally tolling, especially in the beginning. You have no money. All your money's invested, or you're saving money.
Or you owe money from people who've lended to you. Or you don't have money for your like important stuff because you just spent all the money on investing in your business.
You feel guilty trying to have any ounce of fun or spending money on anything fun or no. I mean, even like at my months where I was making a ton of money off my business, it never came to me in a way that was like, cool, now I get to go have so much fun and take a trip. It's like, no, the only way I'm going to be sustaining this much money is if I work my ass off. So it's like your workflow and your time, it's all like parallel.
But also trips aren't rewarding to us at this point because we've worked them into our business. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like trips are just part of our, like the way that we like live. So it's like, even if we were to make a ton of money, that money is going into more business opportunities.
Yeah, there's definitely not a trip we would take and not be working or like turn it into work.
Right. Everything turns into work, and then every ounce of money goes into investing to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I am really excited to see where one day we're finally like, all right, 35 working businesses, 800 employees. I think we could chill.
Oh,
money guns.
I'm like working on hiring someone. So I'm excited. Mentally, I mean, for me, I think, like I mentioned earlier, is like taking load off my plate is what helps me get more done too. And it gives me that momentum, like having help and being able to delegate some things that are more daunting to me. So I'm hiring somebody. Thanks to you. Thanks to your help. Thanks to your suggestion. I'm super excited.
Hopefully it works out.
It's going to help one of my businesses a lot. And I think realizing I'm like, in order for this business to stay afloat and do what I want it to do, I just can't go full blown into it myself. I need to like let go of half of it and let someone else be the other half of it. And then allow my other half of my energy into all of my other projects, because that's the only way I'm going to feel fulfilled. I don't want to. I'm also not the type of business owner that's like, this is my baby, like you. This is my baby. I'm going all in, all my money, everything. I can't do that. My ADHD is like, I have to have different outlets.
Yeah.
I have to do different creative things. Otherwise, I will burn myself out.
Well, and I just want to say, like, this can be my one of my tips just off of that is, what she just said is really important. because not enough people do it. The reason why she is now trying to hire somebody and that I had this opportunity to help her was because we made the conscious decision that we were going to sit down and go over our goals. It's not that easy. You know, you don't just go, oh, ha, 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 we're laughing, I want $1 million. No, it's like, where are we financially? What are things that are bugging us? And finding somebody that you can sit down with and pull those out. Because when we went into that meeting, we didn't even know we were going to talk about that. And we were talking about the podcast, we were talking other things. And I looked at her and said, okay, well, what are your goals here? And you were like, well, you know, really, I think I need to hire somebody. I'm like, okay, let's expand on that. And then as we were talking about it, I was like, oh, I might know somebody. You know, like that type of stuff doesn't happen just in your room, in your notebooks, by yourself. You have to talk to people. You have to reach out to people. That's why if we talk every week about our goals, we're going to get more done, because you need help.
Yeah, and saying it out loud, it takes it, like, if we're talking about like mental organization, for me, I internalize a lot of stuff. I like think about something, it goes in a spot. I think about something, it goes in my spot. And then it's like, I know it's there. I know I need to think about it. I know I need to do it. But until I have a conversation with somebody out loud, I really don't realize either A, how easy it is,
Yeah.
or B, like, I could ask her for help. She helped me out with something huge, like, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. And so I recommend, like, one, writing down your goals, being more intentional with your goals. If you have a hobby or a side hustle or your business, like, if you have goals for those things, be way more intentional and specific with them. And two, have an accountability partner that knows your goals and can kind of keep you on track and kind of be just like a backboard to you talking out loud and kind of reciprocating or asking you more questions, like, about your goals.
Yeah.
Because that's so important. Like,
It is. And find anybody that can be your, I mean, it doesn't have to be like, we're lucky because we're best friends who both have this drive, but it could be your sister, it could be your mom, it could be your roommate, it could be somebody online that you connect with.
it could be a therapist.
Could be a therapist. It literally could be anyone, but putting those goals out there, because once you put them outside into the real world, not just into your mind, then you can start acting on it. And I really truly believe in manifest destiny. And when you put things out into the world, they come back to you sevenfold. If you put the energy out there, like, okay, I'm gonna get this organized, I'm gonna get this taken care of, it comes back.
Well, also, just like, I think you're trying to say this too, is like, you're speaking it into existence. So if you're
Yes.
saying, like, hey, like we literally were like, oh, I have these goals and I'm working on all these things and I'm staying busy and it feels like I'm busy, but it's like, why is what we want not happening? And it's because we're not sure of what we actually want to happen or how we want it
What's
to.
the why?
Yeah, what are we doing, or what's the plan? Like,
Yeah.
my goal could be, oh yeah, like, I run a business, I want to make money, I want to be happy, but it's like, okay, like, how do I want to do that? So
I hear this all the time. I want to be successful. Not a real goal.
no.
You have to do the groundwork and you have to make the small goals. And maybe a small goal is just like cleaning out your car. Maybe a small goal is to make your goals list. Like,
Yeah.
those are goals. You have to give yourself, like, the way we kind of did it a little differently is short-term goals, long-term goals. Give yourself, like, with Liz, you're similar to me. There has to be something easy I can scratch out, because I love the, like, dopamine when I'm just like on a list. So yeah, I mean, I love it. I'm so happy that that's potentially working out.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, for me, like, I feel like even this podcast is like this episode, I feel like we get off track easy, and I do it because, like, my brain's like, oh, I could talk about this. Oh, this is interesting. I have input here. And then, like, I miss, like, the actual subject we're talking about. But
I don't know. I think it's a perfect example of, like, mental organization, of ADHD, because, you know, especially with us, we go in expecting one thing, but we come out with something completely different. And I truly think that being fluid in that is really, really fun and creates something really cool. And so having a podcast like this episode specifically like this, where we can go in being like, all right, this is what we're going to talk about, end up talking about this, but it's still really, I don't know, insightful. I mean, I get a lot out of it just sitting here.
no, 100%. I agree. I had another tip though, like
All right, let's
I
hear
want
it.
to know if other people suffer with this, so like struggle with like trying to just get everything done, wear all the hats, putting too much on your plate. Like, and if you do, I really want to hear from you. And then maybe if you guys have any tips, share them with us, because like I've been doing this for like 5 years and I'm still horrible at it. I still haven't figured out what works for me, what doesn't work for me. I'm constantly trying to like find change and redo things and start all over. I love that phrase. Like, I'm going to get more organized. I'm going to figure it out. And so it's like, for me, I'm a mess, but I embrace it. But the one thing that I have on my list that does help me is if I feel really overwhelmed with how much stuff I have to do, which is a daily occurrence for me, I look at my list, not my like 5. I have multiple to-do lists, not the 5, but the big to-do list that's just random fucking like 1 through 50 things I've just written down as they popped into my head. I look at that and I pick something and I go, I have 1 hour to either get this done or make a ton of progress in it. And I will set my timer for 1 hour and sit down, and that's all I do for 1 hour. Because the second I have, like I said earlier, like the second I have that like time limit or a challenge to do something, it becomes a lot more doable versus being like, I guess I have to do this. I'll work on it. I don't know. And so for me, like the timing thing, I don't know if it probably might not work for you, but it works for me.
No, it totally works for me. Mine's just dictated by the next thing I have to do. So my time limit isn't me setting a timer. My time limit is like, oh shit, I'm running, like I got a meeting in an hour and this is next on my schedule. So I have 1 hour. So I'm not dictating, you know, a lot of people say this is a really bad way to live, because basically what happens is I lay my life in a way where my life's pulling me and other people pull their life. You're very much pulling your life forward from behind you. And I'm throwing things ahead of me that now pull me, you know? So it's very like, and it's just a different way to live because we're both moving forward. It's just you're pushing and I'm getting pulled.
I feel like if I had said that analogy, I would think that I'm more of like being pulled by things that I've like committed myself to, you know, or I'm like, like I'm going to do it. And I'm like, I feel like I'm definitely more like that, but I mean, what you're saying.
I don't think so. I think you're a pusher because at any given time, you could just not do it. There's nothing on your schedule that if you didn't show up to, anyone would be like, other than me and your friends and your fans, but like no one would be like, what the fuck? Pissed.
It'd be me. I'd be looking in the mirror like, it'd
be you. So that's so much more like you have to push. And that's not a bad thing. You literally have to push every inch to get forward.
Yeah.
Right? Which I actually think is more honorable in a lot of ways, because like a lot of times I'm just throwing rocks with strings tied on the end of it and I'm like, whoa,
you're like, if I commit myself to all these things, then one day something will work out for me.
Exactly. Like I'm just like, all right, this is gonna be really crazy next week. Literally I'll look at my schedule and be like, fuck.
Yeah, I'll text her. I'm like, so what do you got going on this week? She's like, oh, you know, this week's fine, but next week
ass, dude. Total ass.
Won't have time for anything. Cool. Well, we're almost at an hour. Do you want to talk about our nests of the week?
Yeah, I'm choosing between 2 right now.
Oh, there's multiple.
Okay, I'll do this. I have 2. One's like about my business, and so it's a little longer, and then the other one's kind of just like silly. So first one is when we were starting the restaurant, we had our lease agreement, and I told you about this, is basically this lease is like 130 pages. My first time negotiating a lease, it was really, really intensely structured. We paid about $8,000 to a lawyer, and it took us about 3 months to negotiate. And a lot of times it was not going our ways. There was almost moments where we were going to pull out, or then there were times where we thought they were going to pull out. So it just was like really, really, really difficult. And I knew during that time that I was going to miss something. I just didn't know what. So I pushed through, got the lease signed, thank goodness. And so far, so good. Up until now, we're going to build out the space. And we realized that I missed just this tiny sentence that says, okay, owner builder, which means that we're going in and building the space out ourselves, has a $5 million excess insurance policy that needs to be in place. They don't give me a 5 million, like there is no insurance company that's going to give me this, even if I want to pay the $5,000 to have it in just 6 months, you know, which is like a lot of money, but whatever. They won't give it to me, and I should have asked those questions first. I should have done that. So now I have to like there's a way to get things done. I'm gonna have to figure it out. But like, what a shit show, because it's just like one fucking sentence, and now I'm like riddled with fear that what else did I miss that's gonna hit me in the face during this process, because it was literally just one sentence. One sentence is 135 pages that was like, you suck. And so I was literally just like sitting here rereading the contract, trying to figure it out, send it to like 3 insurance brokers, and literally all 3 of them came back and said, oh yeah, you're fucked. There's ways to get around it, but it's a total shit show.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that one.
Yeah, it's really stressful. And then my other one is on my sister's birthday. And if you gotta be watching the YouTube video for this one, I was spent the entire morning with a fucking ink pen in my favorite coat, just fucking splurring ink out everywhere. And now my favorite coat is ruined.
I mean, it's not ruined. It's just
It's pretty
decorated with ink.
So,
and there was ink all over her face all day long. It was on me. It was on her sister. Like, she was a mess, a total mess.
a total shit show.
Her mess was getting on to us. Okay, so mine would be, I have 4 cars. I had 4 cars. I posted one of my cars for sale because I needed the money for something, and I just don't drive 4 cars. I don't leave my house enough. So I'm like, I don't need this car. I'm going to sell it. And so I spent all this time like coordinating a detailer and getting the windshield fixed and getting all these things fixed, and I finally post the car up. I've got like 30 plus people that are DMing me like, hey, I want to see it. I'm super interested. And of course, like, nothing's going right. Like, the car's not ready. I'm so busy. I can't show it to anybody. I'm going out of town. Like, and I didn't think this many people were going to be interested. Maybe my price was like super low. I don't know. And so anyway, I finally find the people like that want to, the first people I messaged, I was like, hey, I'm available Sunday night. Do you want to come by, look at the car? They're like, sure, we're super excited. We really want the car. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to be driving back from the Bay Area. It'll be kind of later, but like, I have a flashlight. You can look over the car, whatever. In my head thinking, this is great. It works out. I had a busy weekend, but I get to come home, sell the car, get some money. Yay. No, I literally come home, can't find the title to this car anywhere. I'm literally turning my house inside out, losing my shit. They're going to be there in 30 minutes. Can't find the title. I'm finding all these paperwork, proof that I bought the car and like that I should have the title. I have a piece of paper, a receipt saying that I paid for a new title, but I don't have the title. And I'm losing it. And they finally get there. They look over the car and they're like, cool, we're so excited. We're going to buy the car from you. Can we proceed? And I look at them and I'm like, I have horrible news. Can't find the title. Now my car's registered.
Yikes.
Is a whole thing. Anyway, I was like, to get a new title takes like 6 weeks. And even if I expedite it, it'd still be like 10 days. They needed the car ASAP. And so I'm just like, me being like that in that moment, I've never been more of a people pleaser. Like, I felt horrible. Like, I felt like I was going to puke. I felt so gross. I'm like, my never ending shit show life is spilling out onto these people. And I feel so gross. So yeah, it was bad. It was really, really bad. And luckily I ended up figuring out where it was like a couple days later. And I solved it. I contacted them. I took $500 off. I was like, here you go. Like,
you did?
Yeah. And so I felt horrible. Like, I literally was just like, felt sick to my stomach. And so, yeah, that was my nest. And I was so excited. I'm like, I have a nest. This is a good one. I'm going to share it. But
yeah, that sounds like a shit, yeah.
They were really,
I didn't know
nice.
you put that. Oh, but that's so sweet of you.
I felt really bad.
I know she doesn't look nice, but she really is.
Sometimes. I think it's opposite. I look really nice, probably.
No, you do not.
Oh.
Nobody who's that pretty and that blonde looks nice.
I feel like I'm nice. I feel like I look nice.
I look nice. And I'm not very nice.
No, your energy is intimidating. I think that's what it is.
Nice.
My energy is very like, I'm a lot more reserved, so people might be like, oh, she's probably nice. You're more like, whoa. And so it can come across as like, I think I got the bitchy face and you've got like kind of like bitchy energy.
I got the goofy face. I got like the zany goofy. I'm the zany goofy friend. I'm not mean. Just don't fuck with me.
I think we're both mean. I think like Scorpios can be really mean. I think we're both capable of it.
I think we're both like, I am more protective of the people around me and my things and things I've worked hard for than like me. Like, someone can come at me and I'm like, whatever. But if someone comes at like someone I'm close to, I'm like, Hold my mic.
I got this.
Anyway.
I'm very like that too. Only confrontational when it affects people that I love.
I've seen it only a few times, but it was pretty impressive. I like it when you get bitchy. Like,
I went on one.
like,
I went on a date, and like we went to this restaurant, and they forgot his it was breakfast, and they forgot his bacon and sausage on his plate, like everything else, but no bacon and sausage. And I looked at him and I was like, "Didn't that come with bacon and sausage?" He's like, "Yeah, but it's okay. Like it's not a big deal." And I literally look at him and I'm like, "You want me to say something?" like if it was mine, I would never have said anything. But I'm like, it's his. I'm like, he needs to eat. Like he needs his protein.
You're like, big boy needs to eat.
I was like, "Hey, yeah, who made this plate?" I didn't do that. No, I didn't do that. But I would have if he let me, Anyway, there's a time and place for it,
You never do that when I don't get my bacon. You're like, bitch, you don't need it.
because no, I don't say that. Because I know, literally, didn't that happen to us the other day? Where were we? We had to ask like 3 times. Oh, yeah, the potatoes, the extra side of potatoes. We went out to eat.
That was a language barrier. Those
the potato.
I don't think they we should have figured out what potato was in Russian before we went there.
Yeah, they didn't speak English very well. But I literally looked at you and I was like, "Can you go ask for the potatoes?" And so with you, I feel like you're way more like dominant and like.
Well, I was just like, "Are we gonna get an extra side of potatoes?" And they were like, "You got them." Gosh, I am so certain I didn't. And they're like, "No, we added them on the plate." I'm like,
but I think
who does that?
The lady, I think she thought we meant like just throw a couple extra pieces of potato. I don't think she even charged us. I'm not even sure.
You need to get receipts. That's where I'm gonna end this. You need to get all your receipts.
Get your receipts.
And everything's a write-off, so we should be getting those receipts anyway.
All right. That was it. We'll see you guys.
Yeah, bye.
You've been like out of the frame this entire time.
Bye.
This is too far apart for us. This feels weird.
Am I out of the frame?
No, but we're just like awkwardly spaced. Sorry about that, guys. We'll see you next week when we talk about content.